Good morning, one and all. I, Leena Chandrasekhar, Assistant Professor, EC Department, RNSIT, and student member, Signal Processing Society. Welcome you all for the inauguration of IEEE Signal Processing Student Chapter at RNSIT. Before we begin, I would call Ms. Raksha, third semester ECE, to render the invocation.
Good morning to wherever present here. Shuklam Varadare Devi Aksharamadhari Shuklam Varadare Devi Aksharamadhari Jnanarupini Sharade Vidyade Namostute Vidyade Namostute Bataye ba Sharade Sharade Bataye ba Sharade Bataye ba Sharade Sharade Bataye ba Sharade Shringeri Mate Sada Pujite Bangara Sharade Chira Shanti Dad Sada Pujite Bataye ba Sharade Sharade Bataye ba Sharade Tungeya Gangeyol Tanuvanu Misi Shri Gandhale Pisi Parimala Pusi Tungeya Gangeyol Tanuvanu Misi Shri Gandhale Pisi Parimala Pusi Pattu Pitambara Humare Dharisi Pattu Pitambara Humare Dharisi Varam Mahalasi Nasunage Susi Varam Mahalasi Nasunage Susi Bataye ba Sharade Sharade Bataye ba Sharade Guru Shankarare Vedataru Disari Karadali Veene Sagamadani Nudisari Raga Bhavalaya Sahitya Molagali Raga Bhavalaya Sahitya Molagali Tavasura Ganavu Janumana Tani Sari Tavasura Ganavu Janumana Tani Sari Bataye ba Sharade Sharade Bataye ba Sharade Sharade Sharade. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Raksha, for the invocation. I now invite Dr. Vipula Singh, HOD ECE, to present the welcome address.
Thank you, Dina. Very good morning to all present here today. We have gathered here for the inaugural function of IEEE Signal Processing Chapter. RNSIT IEEE Student Branch was started in year 2010 and buzzes with activity like workshops, talks in multiple domains, project expo, technical fests, etc. In our department, we have many faculty members who are working in the area of signal processing, image processing, and allied areas. Hence, we thought of having a IEEE signal processing chapter. Today, we have with us signal processing chapter chair and today's chief guest, Mr. Shailesh Sakri, senior manager, DSP, engineering, Harman International. I welcome you, sir. He is joining us online. Dr. M.K. Venkatesha, RNSIT, Principal RNSIT, is a dynamic personality, a driving force for all the activities that happen in our campus. I welcome you, sir. Dr. Rajni V. She is a branch counselor for RNSIT IEEE branch. I welcome her for the function. Mr. Sanjay MB, he is a chapter signal processing chapter chair, faculty mentor. I welcome him for the function. Ms. Vaishnavi Bhandarkar, 5th semester EC student. She is a chapter chair, signal processing. I welcome her for the function. I welcome all the faculty members to the function. I welcome all IEEE student members and non-members who have joined us today online for this function. This inaugural function is being conducted in a blended mode, partially online and partially offline. A new experience for all of us. I hope we are successful in that. And I welcome all people who have joined on and offline today for today's function. I wish we have many activities under student chapter signal processing in future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, madam. We welcome you on behalf of the department. I now request the dignitaries to light the lamp to mark the beginning of the inauguration. I request the participants to please stand. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I now call Ms. Rajni V. Honungar, who's a branch counselor, IEEE RNSIT, to give an insight on the recent activities in the campus.
Good morning to one and all present here. It's my privilege to present the report of 2020, what all activities has been done under IEEE student branch. Since its inception during 2010, IEEE student branch of RNSIT has been doing a lot of activities, including workshops, seminars, and project expos. Last year, because of the pandemic situation, we were unable to do any offline activities much, but a lot of online activities like webinars, project expos have been done. So totally there were around 11 activities done. Activities started off during May, and we have ended most of the activities got over by December. So we had webinar technical talks by Vilas Kadiwal. I would like to list some of these talks. So webinar was done by Vilas Kadiwal on hope and motivation. We had both technical and non-technical talks. And there was a webinar technical talk by Dr. Preeta Sharan in the area of digital circuits, that is reversible logic circuit, an approach towards quantum computing. It was held during June 11, 2020. A technical talk by our alumni, Praveen Kejriwal, application engineer, USA, was held on the topic BGP, Border Gateway Protocol implementation in wireless networks during June. And webinar series in stating the title R&D in Electronics Engineering for academic institutes in the current COVID-19 scenario was held during June 24 to 26. It was almost a 4-day webinar series, which included all top people right from ISRO and other R&D institutions. And webinar series in VLSI, Linux and Unix platforms was held by Praveen KN, Senior Design Engineer, Sankalp Semiconductors, during July 22-24. And motivational talk on how to be positive, again by Vilas Kadiwal, was held during September 11. We also had an IEEE Day celebrations, which included day-long activities on October 6th. That is, IEEE Day is held all over the world. That was held on October 6th. We had 2 technical talks, one covering the artificial intelligence and another which was on photonic crystal applications. And also we had a technical quiz, and we had even the gaming quiz also on that day. We also had a talk on entrepreneurship and development area, that is how to live your life on your own terms and be remarkable, by Manjunath Hebbar on 14th October. And we also had a talk on entrepreneurship and development, one more talk, that is Be the One Rather Than Anyone, by Prasanna Kumar Sripada, founder E2E Cloud, during October. We also had a project expo for final year students, which was held during May, I think June. And almost all the students of the final year presented their projects in this domain. And we also had a talk on artificial intelligence and security by the international IEEE speaker Celestine Evendi, University of Sweden, on 9th December 2020. So we have successfully done a lot of activities. We would like to have more activities this year because of the inclusion of IEEE signal chapter, signal processing chapter. I hope we can do many more activities. We currently have 35 student members and 5 professional members in our institute. I request many more people to join into this IEEE membership and give us support in this regard. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rajni. Our chief guest, Mr. Shailesh Sakri, Chairperson, IEEE Signal Processing Society, Bangalore Chapter, and Senior Manager, DSP Engineering, Harman International, is with us today. I now request Mr. Sanjay Belgaonkar to introduce our chief guest to the audience.
Namaste. A very good morning to everyone. I take this privilege to introduce Shri Shailesh Sakri, our today's chief guest, Chairperson, IEEE Signal Processing Society Bengaluru chapter and a senior manager, DSP Engineering Team, Roman International. Sir has around 20 years of industrial experience in the field of audio signal processing with 4 approved patents and some more are in the process. He has worked in the capacity of Director of Audio Algorithms in Knowles, formerly known as Audience, an American mobile voice and audio processing company based in California, and also as a manager in Amazon Lab 126. During this period, he worked on noise suppression and echo cancelers, which were adopted into major smartphones like Apple, Samsung, Xiaomi, LG, OnePlus, etc. Shailesh sir was the backbone of the Audience company when it was the #1 supplier of noise suppression chipsets in the industry. He worked in Amazon Lab 126 and went on to deliver the industry's leading smart speaker products, the Echo series. He was responsible for delivering the Echo Show series of products like Echo Show, Echo Spot, Echo Show 5, and Echo Show 8, along with the Amazon's first premium Echo product. Sir was also responsible for delivering Echo Dot, which is Amazon's leading Alexa device, with close to 100 million devices sold worldwide and having a higher user rating of 4.2 out of 5. Currently, Sir is rendering his valuable service at Harman International as a senior engineering manager, leading the DSP team, which is responsible for delivering car audio solutions and vehicle noise compensation to major car audio manufacturers worldwide. We are pleased to have you at this inaugural function, sir, and I now request you to kindly address the gathering.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, Mr. Sanjay, for introducing me. I'm really sorry for the delay. So when I was trying to connect and somehow I saw that the router was down and I had to restart the router. Apologies for that. Okay. Yeah, thanks for introducing me to the gathering over here, and thank you all the professors who have gathered here. This is first of my delivering such a note in academic institutes like you. I've been delivering some of the notes in our professional, which is the industry, which is quite common. But yeah, thanks for giving me the opportunity. To introduce, I think some of them did speak about the Signal Processing Society. So just to give you a background, the Signal Processing Society is IEEE's first society, if you wouldn't know. And this was established on June 2nd, 1948. And very soon, I think it will be 2023, where we'll be celebrating the 75th anniversary of this society. And this is IEEE's 4th largest society. And we have around close to 17,000 members. And so this membership spans around 120 countries, more than 120 countries. And we belong to a region 8. So there are different regions within the IEEE. And so this falls under the region 8. And this is one of the most member-centered and along with the region 8. So, and there are, so along with this, we have a network of chapters. There are student branch chapters. Okay, so Bangalore chapter is one of them. So we have around 18 chapters within the Asia Pacific. So the student branch, there are plenty of student branch chapters. I mean, you guys are the one who are taking all this IEEE forward. And there are multiple, multiple advantages with the IEEE. I'll get to that. So we have around close to 1,000 plus volunteer network society. And when we talk about IEEE, what comes to our mind is the conferences, publications, memberships, right? And then it's not just limited to the conferences. There's a continuing education. There are much more technical activities that goes on over there, and much more than that. Okay, so now what we do, as I said, I mean, what are the advantages of, people might be wondering, what are the advantages of getting into the membership of the IEEE? So especially when you get into the SPS society, so when you take the membership of the IEEE and the SPS society, you get to know about the latest things that's happening. So there is a bi-monthly magazine that gets released, which is the IEEE Signal Processing magazine that we call. Okay, so that has all the latest things that are going on in the industry and the latest trends that are going on. And you get to, you'll be able to get connected with what all things are going on. So that is one thing. And then there are dozens and plenty of conferences, workshops that happens. And not just that, there is a seasonal schools. And it's this, you imagine whatever, and everything happens over here. There are multiple conferences that I said, like the ICAS, the ICEP, so some of them. And not just that, there is a discounted attendance for the SPS members. So right now there's a discounted price also that's going on, especially for the India region. The price is even more slashed down. Okay, and coming to the student activities, let's say there's a lot of student competitions that happens. And we also conduct some of the student job fair and job opportunities. And what you also can do it is that you can choose your mentor. When you have a big network, once you get into the IEEE, you have a pretty big network. So with this network, you can pretty much you can connect go and pick up any of the very good IEEE member, and you can make them as your mentor who can guide you in your career, in your goals. So all these things are there. And not just that, as I said, there's a volunteer opportunities also where you'll be able to connect with a lot of members. Okay, you'll be able to participate in many, many other things. Okay, so that is one thing. And as I said, in the student activities, there are plenty of things that you can do. You can, participate in many other things. And there are, of late, we are also trying to work on some of the, the training thing that happens. There's a Coursera that people get registered to. So IEEE is also trying to come up with many other things like this, so that it helps all the students by which you can, take your career forward. Okay, so, and within this, we also have some of the technical committees, okay, and the working groups also. So when we talk about the signal processing, people think about it's just a mathematical computation. It's just beyond that mathematical computation. And applications of the signal processing is not just limited to audio or something else. There's sensors, there's an image, there's a video processing, there's a biomedical engineering, right? So plenty of, there's a communication systems, there's a modems over there. Okay, so there's a plenty of there. So I think I'll cover more in detail during my keynote address. Okay, I can go in detail about why we think that signal processing is not just a mathematical crunching, it's much beyond that. Okay. So yeah, with that, I'd like to briefly end. So Sanjay,
Yeah.
over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Shailesh. We welcome you, and it's a pleasure to have you with us in RNSIT today. So now I would like to call upon Vaishnavi Bhandarkar, who's the chair of SPS chapter, to brief the activities planned for 2021-22.
A very good morning to one and all present here. Hope you are all doing very well. I am Vaishnavi Bhandarkar from 5th semester EC department. Firstly, I would like to thank RMSIT IEEE student branch for giving me this opportunity to be the chair of the signal processing student chapter. I would like to brief you about the various activities planned under this chapter. We would like to begin our activities by creating awareness about IEEE membership and Signal Processing Society, which offers lots of resources like signal processing magazines, newsletters, resource centers, online repository for reports and papers, news and feed to its members to increase their knowledge. We have also planned to organize technical talks by experts from various research institutes, industries in the signal processing domain. Under this chapter, we would like to have technical and non-technical events like quiz, crosswords, ideathons, hackathons, coding competitions, workshops, projects, and paper presentations, conferences, and many more activities, which will provide a very good platform for the students to showcase their talents. Lastly, I would like to say that the success of the new chapter is determined by the support given by its members and students. So I request all the students to make good use of these opportunities and participate actively. Let's all be a part of this learning process and achieve greater heights. And finally, all the best to all my dear friends for the upcoming exams. Thank you all. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Ms. Vaishnavi. And before we proceed with a further activity, we would like to share an appreciation letter to our students who have made and designed automatic certificate generation software for our campus. I would request Principal Sir to present the appreciation letter to the students. The students are Vivek PA. Please come and collect your letters.
Yes, sir.
Vivek? All three of you want to come and write together? Yes. So, congratulations to Vivek. Congratulations. Vivek.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Vivek and group. And we want more of our students to come up with such projects for the college. I now invite our principal, Dr. M.K. Venkatesha, to present the presidential remarks.
Distinguished chief guest who is attending this program online, SO departments, faculty members, members of this chapter. It's a great thing that has happened to RNSIT. So this is the 20th year of our existence. This institution was started in the year 2001. So this year is very special. We are going to celebrate 2 decades of wonderful service rendered by our great chairman, Dr. R.N. Shetty. IEEE chapter was established in the year 2010. That marked the end of the first decade of RNSIT. So the signal processing chapter, which marks the beginning of the completion of 2 decades of service, I am sure it should do something really big. So it is a sister concern, probably a child of this original chapter. I want the activities should definitely outgrow beyond the original mother chapter. When activities are being conducted, I closely follow the activities being conducted in other colleges also. Because of pandemic, we have not been able to conduct as many activities as envisaged by us. But some of the colleges have done better than us. Let me congratulate them. In the meanwhile, we should not lag behind. Being in a place like Bangalore, we have the added advantage. No one staying outside Bangalore has as much advantage as any one of us. I request the branch coordinators to put in maximum effort so that RNSIT always is in the headline. With regard to the membership drive, When we were students, we were not aware of these activities and chapters, etc. Our director always used to say, Professor D.K. Subramanian, I think he was his classmate, had 5 IEEE publications, 5 chapters, 5 publications, went as the thesis. And my professor was G.N. Revankar, is an authority in power electronics. He did not have doctorates, he had only IEEE publications. Having publications in IEEE journal and IEEE journal is the rarest of the rarest phenomena. If you look at the publications made by our faculty members, I would request the faculty members to have introspection and come out with publications in IEEE journals only. Today, someone was asking, how many single author publications are made by your faculty after their doctorate? I paused for a while. It's a new thing for me. Those who have not done it, it's an opportunity you can do it now. Those who are halfway in the research, I would request you to kindly see that at least you have one single author paper either during the course of your doctorate or after the completion of the PhD. As rightly said by the chief guest, IEEE signal processing is one of the biggest chapters. I was just going through his publications. He has 3 or 4 patents. I was fortunate to go through some of them. You have found the right person for the right occasion. I'm sure let us get in touch with that person. Once the pandemic gets over, we shall get him to the campus. We shall build the relationship. If at all possible, we can depute our faculty members for internship in their company. If possible, if we can take our students, we can put some of our either MTech students or UG students on the project work. That is how we build a relationship. When we contribute to that growth, while adding to the personal growth, that's the way how we can grow. I would request the faculty members to at least have one membership, either whatever may be their area of interest, at least one IEEE membership we try to have. If at all you want, I can accommodate. I can definitely say that I can allow installment payment after deducting out of your salary. I would at least request all the faculty members to at least have one membership. So let us keep growing. Let us bring more and more awards to RNSIT chapter. So I am sure pandemic is something good because we are not stopped any of these activities. This has given an opportunity for us to meet more and more people. We can have lectures from a speaker coming from America, Germany, Australia, etc. We should continue to contribute to the growth of technical education. Unless we grow along with technology, we will be left too much behind. That's the greatest thing that pandemic has done to us. Let me congratulate the department in evincing keen interest. I'm sure it will make a headway in the days to come. Let me congratulate the department, congratulate the chapter members, the chairpersons. Wish you all the best for this program. Let me thank the students who took some time off to be a part of this program. So wishing our students the best of, I would say that it is not too late to say Happy New Year. So let me extend Happy New Year on my personal behalf to all the students who are present here. Your exams are fast approaching. So you should dwell more time on your academics. Let me wish you good luck in the forthcoming examinations. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. God bless you.
Thank you, sir. We now come to the end of the inauguration, and I would like to present the word of thanks. I would like to thank everyone present here and who's connected with us online. I would like to thank the management, principal sir, HOD, faculty members, students, and non-teaching staff for their support and encouragement. And next we have a keynote address by our chief guest, Mr. Shailesh Sakri, sir. Yes.
Hello, Sanjay. I'm
Yes, sir.
audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay, fine.
So you can
Yeah.
share your screen, sir.
I'm just going to talk about a few things. I don't have a formal presentation because I wanted to have it more informal. And if there are any questions that comes in the way, I can take them. Okay, I hope that's fine. Okay, so I just briefly introduced about the IEEE Signal Processing Society. So I don't want to get in too much about what IEEE does and what the Signal Processing Society in general does. I believe there are many people and many students in this online who are maybe from a signal processing background, and some of them may not be in a signal processing background. Some of them might want to have a career in the signal processing, and some of them maybe aspiring to become, but they are still not sure. They are right at the edge, and some of them they don't even want to touch about it. So I talked about that most of them think that signal processing is just a mathematical crunching, and it's just a mathematical equation and all those things. Okay, so let me break those thought process over here. Reason is that signal processing is not just limited to just the mathematical equations. Although the core of it is still a mathematical equations, but there's much more beyond that. Okay, like I was talking about the applications of the signal processing. Okay, so when I was doing my Bachelor of Engineering, I had a lot of passion. What fascinated me was these signals. Some of these mathematical equations that naturally drew me towards that. Okay, and immediately I decided, yes, I want to become a DSP engineer. Okay, so this was back in those days, and it was really tough. And we didn't have exposure like you guys have, or we didn't have so much of guidance like you guys have. And now we see that there's a lot of chapters that have started opening up, like a principal sir was saying that this IEEE in your college started probably around 20 years back, right? And the way how it has evolved, so it took 20 years to open up a student chapter, right? Definitely there is, multiple faculties have a lot of publications. They have been guiding the students in their career path. But if someone really wants to have a career in their signal processing, I would say just go for it. Okay, there are plenty of companies who really aspire to become. One of the things that I have found within India, I have worked in the US for close to 10 years, little more than 10 years, and I decided to come back last year. So as Sanjay was introducing me, so I was working in Amazon, and then I decided to, I had some family issues. I had to come back here. And but the journey as such within the signal processing is still continuing on the DSP side. Okay. Now, the applications that I was saying was like you have the medical devices, there's a sensor algorithms, there's a audio processing, there's a speech signal processing, there's a modem processing. Everywhere, wherever you see that there is a signals, you will see the signal processing coming into picture. Okay, now, what does the signal processing engineer does? Does he only derive the mathematical equations? No, that's not true. Okay, you take one algorithm to get to the, people will have multiple things and multiple ways and views of it. Some of those algorithms may be in a realizable state. Some of them may not be in a realizable state. Like I can say that, take for instance, the machine learning and artificial intelligence, which is a kind of buzzword, among all the students and most of the people in the industry, right? But this buzzword, is this a reality? How good is this? The machine learning is not new to to the industry, okay? Or assess the machine learning concept, okay? The data-driven decisions is not the new, things. So that all these machine learning have been around since many decades, but but the problem was that it was not in a realizable state. So why was it was not in a realizable state? Because we didn't had a good processors, we didn't had a good, like these days, the processors easily runs up to 1 gigahertz, right? I'm talking embedded processor. So people even thought that machine learning can only be on the server side, only on the cloud side. Yes, we have the machine learning on the cloud side, we have it on the mobile side, okay, on the embedded devices, you name it. Now they're trying to shrink in everything within there. Now, how is it possible? This is possible because of some of the lovely engineers, some of the very good scientists who are able to squeeze in the silicon, who are able to squeeze in all the processing power within one core. There are multiple in some years back. I mean, having these multiple cores and multiple CPUs coordinating with it used to be a really difficult thing. Used to be a big thing, but these days you see everywhere around there, right? You see all those, multiple cores within the chipset. It's a very normal thing, right? So what the message I want to give is that if you're not good in mathematics, don't worry about it, okay? So if you might be good in realization, okay, DSP as such, the signal processing as such has gone to that height, not just because some scientists or someone came up with some equation. That's not true. It was possible, it was able to go up till there because of some of the very great engineers who were able to take those equations and realize them. Okay. Now, say for example, people might have studied some of those filters, right? The FIRE filters, the IR filters. Now, you might have even come across some of the filter banks, right? So these filter banks, there's a computationally, like just imagine this filter bank, the audio processing. You might have seen the MP3 players, the AAC players, all the MPEG-4, okay, all these things have needs a lot of crunching power, encoding them, the encoders, like recording as this thing. When I was young, recording, having these encoders run on a mobile phones used to be so difficult. But these days, you have so much of crunch power on these cell phones that, you can literally record. So that is the state we are in. Okay, so I repeat that signal processing is not just a mathematical equation. You have to, it has become great because people have transformed these equations into a realizable form, which can be implemented. Those are the people who have really made it great. So I want to give you a couple of instances in my professional career, which I have come across with. Like I was mentioning, I was working in a company called Audience, formerly, then it was taken over by Knowles. Okay, so people who are in the Bay Area, especially in California, they were very well aware of this company. Very great people, a lot of people were the great engineers were there. So one of my the founder of this Audience, he came up with a concept that they want to, he wanted to realize auditory-based filter bank, okay? So because your ears, which is a quite natural thing, your ears are like a cascade of the filter banks, right? So all these, your eardrum as such has the small filters, which are at the different bands. And that's when you'll be able to hear some of the sound very well, some of them were amplified, and there's a cutoff. So it's a okay, and he emulated a similar thing, okay, and he was a scientist, okay, and big filter banks like 64 filter banks he came up with. In the real world, close to 100 filter banks you get it, but you squeeze in some of the filter banks you squeeze in and you should be able to get much shrink. You should be able to shrink. Okay. Now, although he came up with that and some of the, I mean, he did the analysis, everything. And then the problem was that, I mean, he took the signal and he was able to analyze, but he couldn't find a way how to reconstruct the signal. So there was another scientist whom they hired, and then he was able to reconstruct the signal. Now you had a very nice, filter bank, which was an auditory-based filter bank. And then as soon as, and it is not like a typical, the fast Fourier transform-based signal, filter bank. It is most, the auditory-based. And then there is, and all these things, mind you, was happening on the PC side. Now the goal was that you want to take this to the mobile phones. How are you going to do that? Okay, now they didn't had a clue. Okay, now you have come up with a very nice, these equations which can do the analysis, which can do the construction, but you didn't have any mechanism of putting it together. Now, then we went ahead and hired some of the architects, very good DSP architects, very good DSP engineers. I have met in my career, many engineers who are so good at it. Now, you have any problem, okay, scientists will be able to solve this. Oh, I should be able to come up with this, and then, this should solve the problem. And there are some of the DSP engineers, they would say that right away looking at those equations, no, this doesn't work because this will take so many multiplications, so many additions, so many complications. It just doesn't work. So much of memory it will take. Okay, or right away they would say that, look, with this, I should be able to cleanly reconstruct and I should be able to deliver to it, right? And such were the engineers. And believe me, audience, after that, they designed a chipset which was which was in a position to calculate, which was compute this auditory-based filter banks. And there were some of the people, you can come up with all the ideal scenarios, like just like how some of these cars work, right? When they announce it, like this car gives you mileage of so and so, okay, that doesn't mean that's on a road conditions. They will clearly put a disclaimer over there that it's on a ideal conditions, ideal road conditions. But actually what you're going to get it, leverage that you're going to get it is much lesser than that, right? If it is like the car manufacturer says that it's 20 kilometers per liter, you'll get it, but in reality, you'll be getting around 12 kilometers, something like that when you hit the road, correct? So in the same way, when you have an equation, okay, putting it in the, realizing is a different challenge over there because you're constrained by the CPU, constrained by the memory. So, that needs a challenging, that needs knowledge where you should be in a position to understand, oh, in this way, if I take this, how am I going to realize it? Okay. So the message I want to give is that don't be heartbroken. Okay. That if you're not able to come up with the mathematical equations, forget it. Are you a good programmer? Yes. If you're a really good programmer, don't worry about it. Are you able to understand these mathematical equations? Very well, no issues. So if you don't, you don't have the mind to come up with the mathematical, that's fine. But if you're able to realize it, that's where we need engineers. That's where the industry needs the people, the smart people who can take it forward and come up with the infrastructure, right? And deliver these kind of things. Okay, so that's where I'd say. And who are the companies? What kind of companies work on all those things? Like I mentioned about the Amazon, all the Echo products. The Echo products. What is the signal processing involved over there? Now imagine. Have you seen? You might have heard some of the amazing sound from the audio, right? There's a lot of engineering thing that happens over there. Okay, the acoustics over there. What are the acoustics? You have to come up with an awesome speaker design. Okay, it's not a small thing. It's not about just putting together a magnet and a coil over there, okay, and the speaker happens. No. So there's a lot of engineering. You have to do all those signal processing where you simulate, oh, with this magnet, with this kind of coil, with this paper cap, okay, how am I going to produce such a nice sound? How am I going to make sure that in a treble I'll have a very good? How am I going to make sure that I will get a very good bass? Okay. Okay, someone is messaging. Okay, I'll respond to it. Okay, so this is what, and producing. Now the speakers are like the Echo products are a smart speakers. Why do you call it as a smart speakers? Reason we call it as a smart speaker is because they listen to you. Like when you say that Alexa, okay, all these Echo products or the Google Home products, okay. So you say, okay, Google, or you say, Alexa, these are all different keywords, or you have the Apple Pods, right? Hey Siri, you have it, it's pretty popular on your cell phones or even on the Apple Pod products, right? So these things is not so easy. There's a lot of engineering over there. Okay, so you can come up with a model which says that, Alexa, it will wake up. But just imagine the speaker playing such a loud sound. Okay, there's a microphones over there. The same thing goes and hits the microphones. Okay, and on top of that, you hear it. It is just like you're sitting in a big party hall. There's a lot of noise. There's a music going on, and someone calls you out. Someone takes your name. Okay, what happens? Will your ears respond to it? Yes. If it is audible, you should be able to respond to it. Now, how does that happen? It means that within your ear, there's a lot of echo cancellation also that happens to some extent. Okay, and your ears, you should be able to, with this kind of sound, you should be able to hear it. But with these devices, you're trying to emulate your ears, not just that you have to beat your ears, because the people has a tendency just to talk, say, okay, Alexa, with a very faint voice, but still they expect the device to wake up. So what is it involved over there? The speaker which hits the microphone, you need to come up with a very good echo canceller, okay, which can cancel out, okay, the sound that is coming from the speaker to the microphone, cancel out, right? And then when you cancel out, you will get filtered out, and it goes to the wake up engine, which will hear this Alexa and then wakes up. Correct. So this is a common putting together. This is end-to-end system I'm talking about, right? And the algorithm which is over there, what is there? There's an echo canceller. There is the Alexa keyword detector. Correct. So these are the two heart of it, entire thing. And that obviously takes some machine learning. There's a lot of other mathematical things, but realizing, just imagine, right? Realizing is not so easy. So I faced many issues, like how will the speaker might introduce some of the non-linearities within, you have to take care of the non-linearities, and then you have to filter it out. Okay, so this is, and not just that, I think someone messaged me that, yes, all these noise cancellation devices which can record voice crystal clear are all based on signal processing, or the sensors do the work. Yes, so there is there's a multimodal also, in the sense, I can give you one instance. Take the Google Home. So Google Home has this tendency where you keep the speaker anywhere within the room, it will adapt by itself. Okay. Now what it does is that, because it will see that how much reflections are going to the wall, how much, what is the volume of the room, okay, how loud it has to play. Okay, so it has sensors. Based on those sensors, it does give out those signal to the internal processing, and then it will adapt the loudness accordingly. Okay. Yes, so there is a lot of thing that collaboration that happens. This is called the multimodal thing. So what is multimodal? Multimodal is you are operating these sensors, or you have the combination of the video processing or the image processing. Okay, all these put together, you come up with some decision. Okay, and all these things are different, signal processing. Yes, there's another question. Says, in the new iPhone 12 Pro, it is said that in the HDR mode, it records 6 layers of video in real time and merges the best of these. Does this apply to the audio as well? So what audio does is that, yes, there's a beamforming. So if people have not heard about beamforming, there's a lot of beamforming techniques, and then there's a sound source localization, okay, which takes into all these different technologies, and they try to localize and get the best out of it. Yes, it's not like a simple thing, just like any video 6 layers, but there's a combination of the signal processing, but along with the machine learning techniques that they use, and come up with these very good voice recording and very good sound quality. So I'd like to take a pause and see if there are any questions. Mr. Sanjay, are there any questions? Or
Yeah. If any students has any questions, you can
you
unmute
guys
your.
hear me?
Yeah, you're audible, sir.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Students have any questions, you can unmute yourself and come online and ask the question. Otherwise, you can also type the question in the chat box.
Okay, Banu Prasad has some question. Yes, please. So you can, broadcast it or send the private message to me, then I can, Principal Sir was mentioning that what are the kind of opportunities. Yes, my companies, we will be, we are always in the constant lookout for the interns, because some of the research things or some of the things, the concepts that it becomes difficult for implementing it, and we do take some of the fresh ideas which usually comes from the students, because they are not constrained by some of the thought process that we have in the industry. They come up with the fresh thoughts, and that's why we go and hire the interns. So please feel free to reach out to me. Okay. Yeah, so the question is about spatial sound. How is the depth of the field known or detected, sir? Okay. So the spatial sound as such, as I said, the adaptivity, right? So the adaptivity is what we have is that, there is, it depends on the reverberation. How much is the reverberation? So there is, so when the reverberation is more, it means that it's a very small room. And the reverberation is a lot. Okay, so there is a multiple factors that it goes in, like there could be reverberation, and you can even take the help of some of the sensors, okay, to see what is the depth of it. Right? It can be ultrasonic sensors also. So based on that, it can compute if there are how hollow is the room or how big is the room. Right? Yeah. So how can your student implement these things to develop a product or project? Okay. These things to develop a product. Okay. See, these days there are a lot of open source, I would say. You can even take some of the Raspberry Pi, okay, come up with the proof of concepts, okay. You have a multiple packages. The Python has become so strong that you get an inbuilt package. Building up a system is not so, difficult these days. You can easily put together systems which can be easily realizable and shown as a proof of concept. Okay, so what I would say is that first, try to build up the infrastructure. Once you build up the infrastructure, you can try out any of the algorithms that we have. Okay. Yeah, so that, and Syed Aram says that what are the basics which need to be strong if one is interested in signal processing? So I would say what your professors teach about all the signal processing basic concepts, like the filter design concepts. Okay, I mean, all the basic thing. What are the aliasing? I mean, designing with the filter banks. Okay, so the basic concepts that you have within the academics, please be strong in those things. Okay, and along with this, there are some of the books which also talk about the application of the DSP, and then it's some of the realization of those products. Like you have the MATLAB codes, you have the C++ codes. So try implementing in all those different codes, okay, all those languages, C++. All MATLAB has a very inbuilt modules that, I mean, functionalities that you can leverage for building it. But if you really want to learn about it, start, I mean, coding it in the C++. That's when you'll be able to realize and see what are the challenges. All right. So Narendra Kumar asks, how IEEE helps student growth? Absolute, very good question. I think some of the factors, I mean, also we did mention, I also mentioned that, so there is, I mean, there are various things. You can go and pick up some of the people within the IEEE list and ask them if they can be mentored, okay, which is not possible. So IEEE will just open up a lot of networking for you, where you can reach out to any of the people whom you feel you can reach out to and guide, I mean, take their guidance. Okay, just imagine if you are not within the IEEE network, how will you reach out to someone? You don't even know if that person exists, or you don't even know if that person and so things are there. With IEEE, it does a mentor program where you can go and tag them, and you can, if that person is interested in guiding you, you can, I mean, you can definitely tag with him and take those guidance. And there are some of the talks that also happen, okay, where, I mean, you can take those, and I mean, all the tech talks, it will definitely help in your career growth and understanding some of the concepts. There's a workshops that happens. You can participate in those workshops, like Principal Sir was mentioning about, I mean, so I would say, I would encourage everyone to even look into those the journals. So why IEEE publications are important? Because that helps you express your thought process. Okay, that helps you put forward your thought process. That's a contribution to the community, IEEE community, where you're sharing your knowledge, where you're sharing your opinion with the IEEE community, and they can take that and they can further expand or enhance their knowledge and further share with this one. So in this way, okay, there are multiple benefits to it, and not just, and any IEEE publications are always valued in the industry, okay, and that because the contribution to the IEEE is taken very seriously in the industry. Okay, they will feel that yes, this person is not limiting his knowledge just to himself, is also spreading it. Okay, and that's where brings in your value over there. So there's a several of the that IEEE can help in students' growth, not just the students' growth, I would say, even the professional career. So don't limit yourself. Once you get into a job, don't forget the IEEE. IEEE, keep continuing with the IEEE, because that's the thing that can keeps you glued to the industry and with the basics and yeah, to the community. Yeah. Any other questions? Thank you, Narendra.
Yeah. So there is one question from my side. This is Sanjay speaking.
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah. So according to you, what all topics should be there in DSP UG course? Like right now we have DFT, FFT, only radix 2 algorithms, and basic design of IIR and FIR filters. So is this enough for a UG course, or do you suggest some more topics which are related more in industry applications?
I think this is sufficient enough, I feel. I mean, one thing that I would prefer to add it is that the multi-rate filter bank. Okay. The multi-rate filter bank is the one which is being used worldwide, I mean, in the industry. Okay. Again, I mean, some people may be able to comprehend to it, some people may not probably. I mean, that's why they keep it, and some people don't keep it. So what we have to encourage students is more and more realization, I guess. Okay. The challenges, I mean, you feel very good about it when you implement these things in the, like a very simple thing. You design a filter, there's some speech that goes in, and you filter one signal, one kind of frequency, what happens, right? So you play around with the signals. When you start seeing that, you become very fascinated, very interested in that. Okay. So I think that, I mean, to answer your question, yes, the syllabus, what is there in the undergraduate program, I mean, it's good enough, I feel. Although there is scope to expand a little bit, I would, if there is a scope for expanding, I would say emphasis should be given on the realization.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. All right. So there's a question from Prabhat Rai. It says, he says, is it true that machine learning and deep learning can replace signal processing? Well, that's not true, because I mean, at the end of the day, when you're learning, I mean, you're coming up with the network, the machine learning, okay, it can be DNA structure or any other structure. So there is a backend training also. Okay, there is something called the feature extraction. Okay, all these things, there is still a signal processing. So all you're doing is that you're taking all those core things into the PC side. Okay, while doing the training, you're collecting the data, you're collecting, running, you're mixing up with the data. I mean, and then you're running through and coming up with a model. Okay, this model, when you come up with a model, there is still signal processing that goes on over there, by which you make the decision, right? To make this decisions, you still need a signal processing. Just that you're shifting this computing from the, I mean, the end device, it could be mobile or any other device, to the PC side. Okay, yes, you can completely replace it, not on the end, I mean, not on the, I mean, only on the end part, but there's a lot of decision, everything you can. Now, what this happens is that earlier you were limited with some of the constraint with the computation complexity within the mobile devices or the end devices. Now, those computational complexities, you're not limited when you're running in the big servers or big machines. So you can literally expand it, and then you can come up with a very good models. Okay. Yes, that's a kind of thing that has opened up with this machine learning, I would say. Okay. So there's another question from Kebano. The question is, in headphones nowadays, we have a 3D sound which makes us feel like we're right in the scene or film which we are watching. Dolby says that this has object-based cinematic audio. The recent AirPod Max have the same. How is the growth in the technology, and how is the competition in the audio industry, sir? Yes, many people are getting into this augmented reality and giving you a cinematic experience. Everyone are, so I was talking about the blind source separation or the source localization, in giving you that kind of cinematic experience. So you have this HRTF-based kind of technologies that relate to transfer function, by which you can literally move and create those kind of sound effects, okay? Because you're not limited with anything. Yes, there's a lot of people are investing in it. Most of the companies, the Dolby is investing, Facebook is investing, Amazon is investing, Google is investing, everyone is investing. So this is very good as long as people buy these products, right? It's a typical demand and supply, I would say. Okay, so the more the demand grows, these kind of things obviously works a lot. So I see a lot of growth over there, definitely. So as I said, you're saying that AirPod Max have a similar thing. Yes, so AirPod Max. So Apple tries to bundle all these features into their AirPods because they don't want the AirPods as just dumb, which will stick to your ears, because they have to introduce more and more features to it. Okay, that's the way they can have people buy all those things. Right? All right. So Aditya asks, what are the settings for a student to publish a paper in audio, image, or signal processing? Very good question. I think you should get in touch with your professor, guidance. If you have any ideas, get it with him. Hello.
Sir, you can hear us?
Uh,
I think there are a lot of people who are unmuted.
But sir is not muted.
That's
I
why
think
echo
he.
is coming.
Hello, sir. Can you hear us?
Maybe some internet problems.
Sir. He is also online.
He's online.
Yes, online.
Thank you. My goodness. Is there?
Hello.
Yes, sir. There was some disruption.
Hello, Sanjay.
Yeah. Now you are audible, sir.
Yes. Yeah. I think something happened to my internet. I'm extremely sorry about that. Yeah, I think I missed out the last question. I don't know who had asked that. They can send me that question again. Yeah, any other questions?
Thank you, sir. I'm
There
sure.
are a couple of people, students are asking a lot of questions, I guess. Okay.
Yes.
How student projects can be upgraded to product level? Very good question. Yes, it is definitely, when you, there are a lot of challenges over there. Taking the concept, like take for instance, the Facebook itself. This Facebook started as a collaboration, okay, within the university, and that obviously took it to the product level. Okay, so taking a concept to a product level is a different challenge because you have to see many constraints. There's a security, there's a computation, there is a reliability. Okay, many aspects to it. Definitely, if there are projects, which can be upgraded to product level, you should reach out to some of your professors who can, if they have contacts with the, some of the leading industries, they should be able to reach out to you. Or once you get into some product company, you can put in your thoughts over there. Look, I had a so-and-so idea. Can I take it to a product level? So you can do that also. Yeah, I think I'll take this one last question. This is from Samarth, I guess. what is the role of signal processing in a CPU design? Yes, I mean, because when you design a signal processing, you're targeting specific applications, specific things. And based on that, you come up with saying that, look, I have to run so-and-so application, which requires so much of cycles. And to do that, I will need so much of memory. To do that, I need so much of cache memory. Okay. So to do that, I'll need so much of other infrastructure, okay, other interfaces. So there's a huge role that plays in it. So like I was talking about in my audience, when we designed the chipset, that chipset was basically designed to run our noise suppression application. Okay. So it does play a huge role over there in the CPU design. Yeah. All right, I think.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Shailesh. And I thank the students also for interacting, and they are sending messages, they are sending questions privately to you. So we are not getting a chance to read the questions. And I'm sure the online mode has been an advantage here, because if it was offline, I'm sure we would have not got so much time to interact, one-on-one. So it was more of the student interacting with you one-on-one. So that was wonderful. And I would like to thank you for providing insights on what all students can do, okay, applications of DSP and the joy of building systems. It was very clearly seen after hearing to you. And I would like to and I would also like to thank you for igniting our students with so many thoughts on signal processing, and also suggesting them on how they can connect with the experts. And I'm sure this the setup of the signal processing chapter is going to give a new beginning for RNSIT EC department, and
Sure.
our students will make best use of this. And I would like to thank one and all. So signing off, this is Leena here. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.